much do you know about GMO? I was usually interested in cooking, so I was interested in GMO food. So I chose this as the topic of presentation and studied a lot of data in this field. GMO is a gene recombination technique that combines the useful genes of one creature with those of another, transforming parts of the gene for a particular purpose. For example, BT corn or GMO corn can protect itself from pests by inserting a pesticide producing gene called Bacillus thuringiensis into the corn. Currently, many people's opinions on GMO are divided into pros and cons. Through this announcement, I will help people understand the impact of GMO food on the human body, why GMO food was developed, the technology used in GMO food development, and the advantages that and disadvantages of GMO food development. Supporters of GMO argue that GMO plays a role in increasing yields by reducing damage to pests, weeds, and viruses because it was developed and distributed for the convenience of farming. They argue that because of these factors, food shortage stemming from population growth can be overcome by introduction of GMOs. GMOs can also help reduce the number of herbicides and insecticides to reduce the labor costs and labor, creating profits and stabilizing food prices. And I quote Zilberman say in the journal Truth about genetically modified foods. Zilberman said the use of GM crops has lowered the price of food and it has increased farmer safety by allowing them to use less pesticide. It has raised the output of corn, cotton, and soy by 20 to 30%, allowing some people to survive who would not have without it. If it were more widely adopted around the world, the price of food would go lower and fewer people would die of hunger. Second, GMO is not harmful to human health. GMO has the advantage of being good for human health. There are claims that various GMO developments, such as allergy prevention and obesity prevention, will help mankind. USA Today on May 17, 2016 states no long-term pattern of increase in specific health problems after the introduction of GE foods in the 1990s in the United States and Canada was found. Many people think GMOs are unhealthy because they are genetically modified foods, but many studies show that they do not cause major health problems. But there has been no diminished voice of concern for GMO. GMO opponents argue that GMO is not long in history, so even if there is no major health problem right now, they don't know what will happen to the body at a time when taking it for a long time leads to the next generation. GMO research began in 1973, and its history is not that long. Opponents say a long-term study of GMO food is needed. According to Joe and his researchers, they said although the reports do not indicate direct risks to human and animal health, when the details of all the reports are considered, certain effects were observed, such as statistically significant differences in clinical performance of acid rats in response to consumption of high amylose and resistant GM rice. These studies show that long-term research is needed to see exactly how GM affects the human body. Finally, There are claims that genetic modification can cause problems such as disruption of the ecosystem by transferring genes to other plants. Why Tony Young and Brian Chen writes in November 5, 2015 issue of Science of Food and Agriculture. Some scientists are concerned that genes from GMO crops may spread to conventional crops or related species in a process known as outcrossing. There are some concerns that this could have potential ecological consequences such as reduced fitness due to eroded genetic diversity. The danger of these unintended mutations is that a lack of diversity could leave entire crops vulnerable to widespread disease. The study shows that GMO food needs to be developed while preserving the native species of crops. GMO foods are now in the process, not fully developed, and many improvements are still needed. Therefore, it is important to pay attention to research so that GMOs can develop in the right direction rather than to argue with opposing and approving GMOs. I hope this announcement gave you a more accurate understanding of GMOs. Before and after this announcement, how has your opinion of GMO changed?